Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. Very recently I traveled by car from Munich to Barcelona, so from Germany to Spain, and in today's video I will essentially be sharing with you my experience, how much time it took me to go from one city to the other, also of course all the costs. I will be breaking them down, and finally I will also be sharing some tricks and tips to try to save a bit more money in the process. But with that said, I don't want to waste any more time, so let's get right into it. Firstly, I will start by sharing with you all the costs of the trip, so how much did we spend in total, and afterwards I also filmed some videos while we were on our way, also mentioning some aspects of the trip or some tricks that we used along the way, and that will play afterwards. But first of all, in order to calculate the cost, we need to see how many kilometers are separating these two cities, which, as you can see from Google Maps, it is of 1,368 kilometers. Then, using the average consumption of the car as well as the price that we paid for the gasoline, we can calculate how much we spent on fuel. And on the consumption, we have that the car on average was using around 5.5 liters of gasoline every 100 kilometers. And considering that we put the gasoline at an average price of €1.48, this means that we spent on fuel a total of €111.36. Of course, this is the number that we spend, but you need to consider that this will be variable because it will depend on which car you use and how much the car consumes in terms of gasoline or maybe diesel, and also on the current price at the moment that you make the trip of the gasoline or the diesel, or even if you take an electric car, whichever price the electricity is at. Next in the list of costs, we have the tolls. In Germany, this is pretty cool because there are no tolls, so in the highways we did not have to pay anything. And the same goes for the small part that we drove on Austria. But then as we went into Switzerland, there they have a sticker system that works on a calendar year. So it goes from January to December. So you buy that one, it costs 40 Swiss francs, which at the moment of preparing this video, it is equal to 36.95 euros, and it lasts for one full calendar year. So to make the most of it, you would ideally buy it in January and then it lasts until December. If you buy it in August, for instance, it still lasts until December. So it's not 1 year from when you buy it, it's just one calendar year from January to December. And that's basically what you have. And on this, you of course need to consider that in these calculations I will be adding the full cost of it, but of course if you need to do this trip from Munich to Barcelona several times, then this sticker probably you can use it then also for the next time, of course only if you are going within the same calendar year. Moving on, after Switzerland, we of course crossed France, and in France they do have tolls. It's not like a sticker system, so you do have to pay every single time that you use the highways. So for the rest of the trip until Barcelona, so for the part of France as well as for Spain, you should calculate that you would spend around 77.30 euros. And in our case, we spent a bit less than that, because we found actually accidents and retentions. And when we saw that, we decided to exit the highway and go through secondary roads. It took us a bit less time, but we did not have to pay the highways, which was kind of a smart move on our side, because I mean, why would you pay more if you are going even slower? So that's why we also spent a bit less. It also meant that it also took us more time. And then the other thing is that my hometown is not really in Barcelona, but a bit north from it, so 1 hour away, about 100 kilometers, which means that we also did not get really to Barcelona. But for the title of the video, I mean, I thought that it would attract much more the attention if I were just to put Barcelona. With all of these different aspects, we reached to a total cost of the trip, and only one way, so from Munich to Barcelona, and that's it, of €225.61. In my eyes, this is really only worth it if you are making the trip with other people, so you are sharing the expenses. But anyways, if I could avoid it, I would certainly take the plane. The only advantage maybe of the car is that if it's a bit big car, then you can carry maybe more things than if you were to take the plane, but still the plane is a much faster and in most of the cases also a cheaper alternative. And the only positive aspect, of course, of traveling by car is that then once you are in the destination, you have the car to move around, which I mean, if you then need to rent a car in the destination, maybe then it is worth it really to take the car. But now that we have the costs clear, let me take you with me on my trip. Hello, so it's 8 in the morning almost right now, and I'm sorry because I actually left Munich at around 6 in the morning, so I've been driving for around an hour and a half, maybe a bit more than that, and I just found a parking spot where I think I can leave my car for 2 weeks. But yeah, I was too asleep at 6 in the morning to start recording, and I actually forgot it, so sorry for that. But from now onwards, you will be following our journey from Germany to Spain. And now I will be meeting with my mom and a friend, and we'll be going all together, and also my dog, Nuka, and we'll be going all together to Spain, and you will meet them in just a little while. So I left my car finally here behind me because in the other place I parked, it's not the same as here. But then I was told by a woman that it was forbidden because apparently I guess it's too close to the airport, and then they only allow you to park for 4 hours. And then here is the car that we are driving. It's a Fiat 500 from Germany to Munich. And here's my mom. Hi. My friend Michele. And Nuka. Nuka. ¿Qué tal, tía? Saluda. And the car is super full. Let me see if I can take you inside. So that's how it looks like. I think we cannot fit anything else in here. Then there's still my backpack that is still not in. And then as we go in here, perfect. Here is Nuka's place, as you can see. And my place, we will keep changing seats, I guess. So yeah, not much space. We hope we make it. And guess who's the princess of this car? Nuketa? She has her own seat. Ale. So it's time to eat something. We have here pretzel, typical Dutch, German, sorry. And yeah, I highly recommend them. I love it. Alright, so we just stopped right now, and besides taking Nuka out, we'll also be filling up the tank a bit more, because we actually got this and we filled it up also in Austria, that it was cheaper, and that's another saving hack. And now the other saving hack is that I have here my lunch, which of course I'm not buying, it's just here on the road, but it's already made. And actually I have pizza that my mom made. So I'll be eating that then now. By the way, I hope you can hear me because it's super windy, but I forgot to mention that the thing with this trip is that in Germany, now it is pretty expensive also, the gasoline and everything. Then in Austria, it is cheaper than in Germany. In Switzerland, it is pretty expensive, the most expensive country. Then France, it's also expensive, but then in Spain, it is the cheapest country to put gasoline in. So the idea is to put gasoline in Austria and then in Spain. The thing is that we will not make it, so probably we will have to put around 20 euros, 10, 20 euros in France. But at least this way, like by filling up the tank with the extra tanks that we brought, we make it a bit farther away and we save just a few more euros. Better than a restaurant. Won't you take me home and give me wings to fly? We can be alone in the castle in the sky. We can run away. Alright, so this is the last stop that we're going to do before entering Spain. We are about like maybe 20 minutes away. We are almost done. We are a bit late because we actually found a lot of traffic in some areas because there were 2 accidents. So that's why it took us longer. I will let you know exactly how much it took us at the end of the video or later on in the video. But thank you very much. And yeah, maybe I'll do another one when we arrive. When I got home, I am super sorry, but I completely forgot to film anything. I was super tired, but I can tell you that we arrived at around 10 p.m. at night, which means that since I left Munich on that day at 6 in the morning, it took me 16 hours to get to my hometown, while in Google Maps it had said 13.5 hours when I first looked it up, and I already deducted from that 1 hour since I already told you that my hometown is 1 hour north from Barcelona. Therefore, I spent 2.5 hours more than what Google Maps was saying, and this was mostly because we made some quick stops along the way, of course, to eat something. The stops were not very long, they were of maximum 10 minutes each one, but what really slowed us down was the retentions and the accident that we found, and therefore we took us these 2.5 hours more. Overall, how do I assess the trip? Honestly, if you can take a plane, I would much rather take a plane than a car, because so many hours inside a car, it gets pretty boring. But if you really want to go with a car, or you have no other option but to go with a car, then my best advice in terms of saving would be to put gasoline in Austria and Spain, which are the two cheapest countries that you cross while doing this trip. And then if you don't get to the other country, so especially from Austria to Spain, then maybe just put a little bit of gasoline in France to get to Spain, and then really finish filling up completely the tank in Spain. And then the other thing is that maybe if you have a spare seat on your car, you can consider advertising your trip in a platform like, for instance, BlaBlaCar, and then this way you share a bit the costs and you bring your out-of-pocket cost down for the trip, because you basically split it amongst more people. Anyways, this is the end of the video. If you have any questions or something that I forgot to mention during the video, you can just drop them in the comments below and I will make sure to answer them all. If you enjoyed it, of course, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're not yet subscribed, and as always, see you next time.